Right, hi. Purpose of today's video is to explain to people why they should not buy a fake Shoei helmet. I saw these helmets on AliExpress and I wondered what they were like, so I thought I'd buy one. I bought it from a seller, as I say, on AliExpress, and I paid just less than £100 English for it. Now, there will be some people who say, well, what do you expect if you pay £100 for a helmet? That would, if it were the real thing, would cost 6 times that. Well, in some respects they'd be wrong in asking that question, because the only thing that makes this a fake Shoei helmet is the fact that it's got Shoei badges stuck on it. And these are just stuck on. It's not clear coated over. There's one there, one on the front, one on the side. And there's a 3D badge on the back. If you take these off, all you're left with is a plastic or ABS helmet, which looks a bit like a Shoei helmet. Now, if I went into a motorcycle accessory shop or went online with £100 to spend, I could buy a great ABS helmet. In fact, if I looked hard enough and I found one in a sale somewhere, I might even be able to get a glass fibre one for that sort of money. But for £100 I'd get a helmet that was road legal, safe to use, which worked, everything on it worked, had a comfortable lining and fit properly. This is far from that, and I'll explain why. We start on the outside. It's got a vent which looks pretty much the same as or very similar to the real thing, which does seem to work. That diverts air up behind the visor. I've got one here. I'm not sure whether this does anything or not, but it certainly doesn't work properly. It doesn't open or close. We've got a vent on the top, which is not the same as the real thing. The real thing has a little slider here. It does slide, but I don't think it actually does anything. There are no holes in the shell to correspond with it inside. With regards to the graphics, this part here, which I'll call a spoiler, I don't know what the technical term for it is, but I'll call this part the spoiler, is a separate part to the actual shell of the helmet. And this should be lacquered and graphics applied separately and then bonded to the helmet after everything's complete. In this particular instance, what they've done is they've stuck this spoiler to the helmet, then put the base coat of pearl white, which is quite nice, and they've applied the graphics, and then they've clear coated over the top. The result is that some places the paint and the lacquer has flowed into the joint and filled it up. Other places you can see the joint, and it's joint filled up all the way along. It looks absolutely dreadful. This should be recessed, but it isn't. It's just stuck on. These things snap in and out. With the real thing, there would be 3 screws on each one holding it in place. Could easily lose that. Okay, so that's the outside of the helmet. At first glance, or from a distance, doesn't look too bad, but when you at close scrutiny, it's absolutely appalling. Next thing is the visor. The visor doesn't lock into place. It's supposed to obviously hook the same as every other visor over the catch here. If you press down on it like that, it won't engage. The shapes are cut all wrong. You can close it like if you press it from the top, but it doesn't stay closed. There's a slight bit of wind if you're using it, and it just comes straight open. This is the locking mechanism which stops the visor coming this way to hold it in place, but if you push hard enough, that will give way as well, so that doesn't work. In actual fact, if you look closely at this, it just comes out. Absolutely useless. So that's likely to fly out when you're actually riding the bike. So the visor doesn't fit. The mechanism seems to work alright, but obviously until you try it you can't tell. Internally, now their website say that these helmets are different size to European, so you should order 2 sizes larger, which I did. I normally take a large, so I ordered an extra large, but I told them my head size was 60 centimeters to make sure I got the right size. But of course they did send extra large, and it's as extra large as European extra large. No use. So if the helmet had been perfect, I couldn't have worn it. And one of the reasons I couldn't have worn, if you look at the state of the upholstery, this cheek pad here, there's virtually nothing in it, and this one, nothing at all in it. These snap in, and then they're all attached to this part here, which comes out. I'll take it out, in fact. So that's it. So that's what you get as a cheek pad. Absolutely nothing in it. Absolutely utter the stitching, all loose ends, all coming away. This underneath wind deflector, all of the mesh, that's coming away. This comes out. The breath deflector, that's not attached, just comes out. That's the rivet for the strap. I'll try to open this if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but that's how the strap's attached. Flimsy, loose rivet. The lining is removable, and at first glance it looks fairly smart, but you know, not very good really. All of the red tape on here, which is supposed to look like the actual quick release mechanism on the real helmet. You pull these and the cheek pads come out so that the helmet can be removed if someone has an accident. So overall, that helmet is beyond any use whatsoever. It couldn't even be improved upon. It couldn't be tweaked. It isn't worth anything. It's completely and utterly worthless. Now, fortunately, whether it was because of the Wuhan virus, I don't know, but the helmet took about 72 days to arrive. So as a result of that, AliExpress were good enough to give me my money back, and I'm glad they did, because it wouldn't have been worth the cost of sending it back, and I would have lost the thick end of £100. So as it is, I'll be quite happy to just throw that in the bin, which is what I'll do. I wouldn't give it away. I wouldn't sell it. I might use the shell as a bit of an experiment to try some painting on, but other than that, it'll just go in the bin. Absolute rubbish, an utter disgrace. Bit surprised AliExpress allow these things to be sold, but they are generally fairly strict on fake items, but there's the odd few things that obviously get through. So folks, I know it's not the best of videos, but I hope I've made the message: do not buy these helmets. They are dangerous, and they're the one thing between you and the road. If you come off your bike, why take the risk? If all you can afford is £100, go to a shop and buy a good, I don't know, nitro or something like that. Make great helmets. Loads of manufacturers make helmets around about the £100 mark. Much better, much safer than this. Okay.